Let's see, Kendall. Kendall, you want to play?
Sure, I'll play.
Fantastic. All right. So what brought you here tonight? What's your biggest challenge?
So I'm kind of in a weird position. So I just took the July LSAT, having studied for a year prior to it. I scored a 159. I typically get around a 166 when I'm doing a practice test. Was shooting for 170s hopefully when I was studying. But now I'm kind of I don't know if it was the fact that it was a stressful day that messed it up. I don't get to see my scores because it was a non-disclosed. So kind of had to regroup for the October one, and kind of knowing that the logical reasoning is the section that if I'm going to mess up on is typically the one that I do, kind of just trying to schedule kind of a new study plan to fix those areas.
Sure. Okay, so what would your default be if we didn't have this call tonight and you've got about 2 months until October? What would you be doing?
I'd probably be going to Khan Academy and picking one kind of each question section that they have and trying to work through them and see which ones I'm actually screwing up on the most and trying to do that, and then just taking a bunch more practice tests just to kind of get the nerves out if that's what it was.
Okay, and so what don't you like about that approach?
It seems too similar to what I was already doing.
So what do you think is missing then?
I think that's why I'm kind of here. I'm a little bit lost with it. I was kind of freaked out by how that test went just because I can't see what I did. I don't know if it was just a bad day. So that kind of causes a lot more anxiety about it than normally being okay, you screwed up on this section and this was the section that you messed up on the most, because then it's easier to go and say, okay, I need to fix that. But in this situation, it's more, okay, I don't know what I did. I don't know, what I kind of need to work on more. Because to be honest, if I look at kind of what I typically miss versus what I typically get right in logical reasoning, it kind of is, I've found more depends on the question itself rather than the type. I'll just miss some rather than others. So
yeah, it's not always about question type. Sometimes you get things wrong just because they're difficult.
Right.
Beyond a certain point, once you've got the fundamentals down, you may not always have a particular weak area, or you may get more flaw questions wrong because there are a lot of them to get wrong, not because you have a particular weak area in flaw questions. Now, it's obviously also frustrating when tests are undisclosed because you can't see your results. You can't know what you got right or what you got wrong. And obviously after a few weeks, everything's kind of hazy anyway. So in the absence of that, how might you determine your weak areas without that disclosed exam?
I think again back to just going to Khan Academy and going through their sections that are specific types and seeing, kind of comparing them and seeing if I'm messing up more than others. I don't really have an idea after that.
Yeah, I mean, you could use analytics from a place like Khan Academy. You could do another timed exam or two.
Right.
A timed exam that you do today is also a decent sample. I mean, it's one exam, just like the test that you took. The official one was also just one exam. So it's obviously limited in sample size. So you could do 5 if you wanted to, and then average and see where you stand, and then see where are there any trends, if any. But as you said, also, question type analysis is only one piece of the puzzle. It could be the method of reasoning in a stimulus.
Right.
So in the absence of trends with regard to question type, what if you just took a handful of exams and reviewed them in depth? What if you did 1 or 2 a week between now and October?
I think that would probably help, because doing more in general typically gives you at least something to look at and kind of more confidence in knowing something about it. I think my issue is the fact that I just don't know what I was messing up on. So probably good.
Is there anything missing from that approach for you?
I mean, there's always the option of it being, they are random. So if it doesn't have the kind of question I was messing up on, there might be some discrepancy to what I would end up focusing on.
Perhaps. Yeah. I mean, if you do 2 a week though, you'll
Yeah.
be covering a decent number. Maybe evaluate the argument questions only come up once in a blue moon, so you won't encounter too many of those, but they're also quite rare anyway. And the good news is that for a question type like that, again, it's not all about question type, first of all. So methods of reasoning span a wide variety of question types. And that one in particular straddles the line between strengthen and weaken. So if you do strengthen and weaken, you'll get better at evaluate at the same time.
Yeah.
I want to invite others to chime in on this. Study plans for October. Imagine a lot of you are taking October. So curious to hear other thoughts from what others are doing.
I'm not taking mine in October. I think my plan is going to be to take mine maybe February. It gives me enough time to study again. I took mine in July, and I was thinking, hey, I'm doing good. I was doing good on the logic games, studying wise, and self-preparing, doing good on the logical reasoning. But my biggest challenge was reading comp. Like, I know that comes so easy for everybody else, but that's the toughest part for me. And I'm just, I know that my last score was really low. It was 139. But I know that once I get the reading comp where it should be, I know I'll get 170 or even higher. And I'm not just saying that. I'm actually, because like I said, the logic games for me were pretty simple. And then the logical reasoning was really simple. I think I just had a few problems with understanding, what is the apparent discrepancy in certain ones and pick that one, which one explains it. But as far as reading comp, even when I'm slowing it down and trying to, just figure it out and see what the test taker is saying or what, how to beat the test taker or the test maker, I just completely bomb it.
I hear you, Billy. I want to keep the focus on Kendall here for now. We might get to you later. But do you have any advice for Kendall about a study plan for October? What's worked well for you?
I would say slowing it down to where, you're kind of breaking it piece by piece. Like, let's say you're taking apart an engine and you just, piece by piece of what's bothering. Like with me, with the logic games, what makes it so easy is just by, not just working through it, but seeing why did I get this wrong and why did I get it right. And then also, just trying, even if you fail, just take a whim. And the next thing you know, when you see why you were thinking like this, like, why did I think that this was the correct answer? And then next thing you know, you can look in the in the back to see, what they say, but you can go by what your real thoughts are. And it helps a lot for me.
Thanks, Billy. Yeah, 2 things I want to pull out from there for you, Kendall. One is the idea of reviewing in depth, really looking to analyze where your misunderstanding comes from and look up the Socratic review method again for more on that. The second thing is breaking it down piece by piece. So I said, I would suggest for you, if you have the time, 2 timed exams per week, along with detailed review of those exams. What might be missing from this is if there are certain weak areas you notice, like let's say you're not coming across evaluate the argument questions and that's stressing you out. Well, there aren't that many of them, so it's not that big a deal. But if they're stressing you out, then spend time on them. Take an hour or 2 and go through a handful of them. There really have only been a handful of them ever, so wouldn't be that much work to go through a bunch, and then you would have that one crossed off your list. How does that feel to you?
Good plan. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning into the show. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already to be notified of new episodes as I release them. And feel free to reach out if you need anything at all as you move forward with your prep. I'm happy to help however I can. In the meantime, I'll wish you all the best and take care.